such. I live in Lillooet and that in the interior. And I look forward to running with this and helping you out to move forward with gaming grants, as well as giving you some information on other places that funding is available for you to look for and such. So yeah, welcome your questions and anything else that comes. Thanks. Over to you, Alameen.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Alameen Pirani. For those who may not know me, I've been involved in scouting for a very long time. I was the former executive director, council executive director for British Columbia Yukon, managing all 3 councils since 2000 up to 2020, almost 20 years. I retired in 2020, and I've been involved with the gaming applications for a very long time, since its inception. So, and I've been doing a number of the seminars and webinars and face-to-face training as well. And I was quite involved with the whole setup with, at that time, the Gaming Commission, and now the different branches. Now I think it's to the Ministry or Solicitor General. So it changes. And now with the new government, we don't know which department to go under, but applications continue. So it's my pleasure to be here to see Cascadia again. It's been a long time. I know I'm seeing some of you virtually. I see Jordan Edis here. Jordan, are you Warren's son? By the way, just checking.
Yeah, it's Jared. He just doesn't know how to change the name. This is Jared Edis.
Oh,
yeah.
Jared just said Jordan Edis on it, so yeah. I wasn't sure if he was related to Warren. Oh, he is Warren's brother. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I might have met you sometime. Well, welcome. Good to see you. Say hello to Warren for me. So why don't we get started? You can all see the opening slide. So I think we'll get started. It's a long presentation. And the plan is for us to kind of go through, I'll give you, go through the steps of applying for gaming. And we'll also be sending this presentation out to you. So if you want to make your notes, you can go ahead and make notes, but you will also get this as well. So I'll go through the process of, what the guidelines are, when to apply, which application form to use, starting submitting your application, supporting documents, your decision. And then the whole, I have also another session that we'll be able to continue if, depending on how you're all feeling, is a step-by-step process of doing the online application process. I provide you answers of how to fill out all the different fields that gaming has on their website. Everything is online. Okay, so some of the key changes for 24-25 is that if you are requesting a total of 10,000 or less, which most groups tend to do, there is now what's called a simplified program financials, and they have templates available on their website. The other thing for those, if you are already getting gaming money, you may have received a letter from the BC, from the gaming, regarding that you're going to be needing a business BC ID or a basic ID starting next year. For this year, you don't have to worry about it. It's for next year. Now, Scouts Canada is already currently looking at what we're going to do. We're still waiting for National to come back with a process as to, is it going to be one account under Scouts Canada with sub-accounts for each group? Because most likely, I think we will need a business ID. And we as groups are not really businesses, but Scouts Canada is a business and it has its own Revenue Canada number. So they're looking into that and they will let us know soon as possible. Hopefully maybe after the national AGM, I'm not sure. But I'm sure Jennifer and some of the staff members are working with National to determine that, and then they'll let us know. So just be aware of that we're going to need that for next year when you apply, not this year. Doesn't affect you at all for this year. So the gaming, we've been doing it for a number of years. And last year in Cascadia, there was 30 groups that applied and received funding. And in total, we received between $1,000 to $19,000. There was a group in the Pacific Coast Council that got $19,000. I know my group, we got $15,000 because we're a very large group. We have about 150 members. So a total of $139,900 was distributed around the province. In most cases, I always recommend that, when we can get about $100 per youth. It's not a competitive process. 90% of the application usually receive a grant as long as you apply properly. And it's based on your scope and community benefit. Okay, and then demonstrate financial need. All right, eligibility. Scout groups must be in good standing. That means that you don't have any issues with the council, or the council is not chasing you for something, whether it's active members or pending members or whatever issues there might be with a particular group. So you want to be in good standing, because once in a while, the gaming organization does call the council to find out such and such a group, are they in good standing or not. When we used to have an office, they used to do a lot more. Now we don't really have an office, so they probably contact National, or I don't know what their plans are. The other thing is submitting year-end financials. Now this I know has changed for Scouts Canada now, that we don't have to submit year-end financials, but you still have to do them because it's a major requirement for gaming. And I would always recommend that you, once it's all reviewed and everything, I'll go through it for you, that you do submit it to Scouts Canada, let them file it as well. So that way it's all above board that you've done all that. The primary purpose is to operate for community benefit, has to have an open membership, you have to have a volunteer board. In our case, that's what we call group committees, democratically chosen, and voting membership of parents and scouters. And there are these two documents. Now you will see in a number of my slides, words like this: Community Gaming Grant Program Guidelines in blue and underlined. These are all hyperlinked to the website. So when you get this presentation, it'll be in a PDF format, but you can still click on these. And so you don't have to go looking for it, but you can click on it, it'll hyperlink it and take you directly to the document on the government website. And then you can download that document. So it's always good to have these with you, and then you will read through them as well. So for us, we only do one program, what's called Scouting Program. And I'll walk you through the online application process as to what you say in the document. You don't have to put Beavers, Cubs, Scouts, Ventures, Rovers. You just put Scouting Program. We provide one program, and it's a distinct program or service to the community. That's how it's seen. And the program delivery is currently running at time of application. That means you are running a program. It's ongoing, and it's directly delivered by the groups and sections. And the community benefit contributes to quality of life in the community, is responsive to community needs, accessible, inclusive, and provides immediate direct service to the community. Okay, so program description. So this is one document that you have to prepare. You will have to prepare some paragraphs about what your group does and what your group offers. So, who benefits, how many people benefit, meaning the youth, the leaders, what are the program activities, so you can talk about your Beavers, what your Beavers do, talk about your Cubs, what your Cubs do, what your Scouts do, and as long, write some descriptive stuff on it. As to, our Cubs go to this type of activities, we do camps, and then describe those types of camps a bit. And you can also put lots of pictures. The more pictures you put in, it helps you in your presentation. And you would prepare these documents. How often does it run? It runs weekly. We also have weekend programs. We have weekend camps. We have weekend activities. So however you actually run your program. And where is it delivered? Is it delivered out of a school? Is it delivered out of the church basement? Or is it delivered in a park? Mention that. Where do you deliver it? And is it accessible to all? And you can describe that, yes, it's accessible in the community. So most of the Cascadia groups are usually in the small towns or villages or some bigger cities like Penticton or Kelowna, and you might have a number of groups there. So you can describe that, right? Describe what you're offering and where you're offering it. Organizational financial eligibility. You must meet the specific organization financial eligibility, and they've described what you should have. The other thing you should have is a revenue expense statement for the previous fiscal year, which ends August 31st, 2024. So you should have, by now, you should already have your financial statements almost close to being done, maybe being reviewed. You may have already got it done for last year. So that's what you're going to need. You're going to need a balance sheet for the previous fiscal year. And in the balance sheet, if you have any notes, financial notes to describe anything, you need to maybe want to put that in too. Scouts Canada has got a very robust template that you can download from your website, from Scouts Canada's website, I mean, your council websites. And if you have any difficulties in that, please contact Jennifer. She can get that for you. Any accompanying notes is very important as well. For example, if you have set aside money for jamborees or a larger project and you kind of restricted it, so you want to describe that why do you have, say, $10,000 sitting separate when you're asking for money from gaming, and explain that to them, right? If you have that. This is something new also. Groups operate less than 12 months. You can apply, but you have to have year-to-date actual statements of financial position, budget for current and next fiscal year. So that's the other thing. You have to develop your budget for your current fiscal year and about a budget for your next fiscal year. Budget for your current fiscal year, meaning starting from September 1 to August 31st, 2023. There is a calculation that they also do in order to decide whether to give you money or not. And this is to do with the surplus calculation. And so there's a formula that you may have to kind of work through with your treasurer and just see that you meet the criteria or not. But I've always said apply regardless and let them try and figure this out for you as well. And then they'll tell you that, no, you don't meet the criteria, but we'll give you some, they might reduce the amount. So don't not apply, apply, regardless, apply. You will get something, or they'll tell you, sorry, you've got too much money sitting in your bank account, apply next year. They'll tell you that. But I would suggest apply. And we had that happen in our group. We had money sitting aside for jamborees and all that. And we applied and kept applying. And they told us, well, you have too much money back, but we're going to give it to you this time. But you need to spend that money. And which we did. We spent quite a bit this past summer with PJ and all that. So we did reduce it down. So this is the Scouts Canada's template. It's very difficult to read probably, so don't worry about it right now, but you can easily, Jennifer, if you're able to find the link on your Cascadia's website. If not, I'm sure you know where it might be. I know Fraser Valley and Pacific Coast have it on their website. I think you have it on yours too. And then you can send it to them if you don't have it already. And it's a very well laid out template that you can use to work through. Now, gaming also puts this in there, but we in our group, we don't do this, but if you want to, it's your choice, but you have to make sure that you do it correctly. It's the in-kind volunteer contribution. This is usually for organizations that have a staff and a volunteer component. Some small nonprofit organizations have that. They may have a larger volunteer component, and then they because the volunteers come and help out in their office or whatever, right? So they provide this. But I have put it in there because I was getting questions asked about it. So I said the choice is yours, but if you're going to do it, then you're going to make sure that you list the volunteer labor at $20 an hour, must be listed as revenue expense, so the amount balance out to zero. Okay, so that is critical. But for scout groups, I wouldn't recommend it much because we don't really do that now. I know when we had the BCY office in Vancouver, we used to have volunteers coming and helping out every now and then. So we used to record their time and basically make a note of that so that gaming would know that the council office has some volunteers helping out. So there's no real need to do this one. It's just extra work for you. Eligible use of grant funds. So what can you use the money for? Rental of facilities and insurance. If you're paying for a school, program supplies, and rental of purchase of equipment needed for direct delivery of programs. So if you're renting, say, snowshoes for a snowshoeing camp or whatever, volunteer training costs like Respect in Sport, Food Safe, first aid training. We don't do wood badge courses. If there's a cost that if there's workshops being held in your area and you're paying, say, $20 for a workshop and you get a receipt, yes, you can use the gaming money for that. Travel within British Columbia, you can cover that. So if you're traveling, say, from Penticton to Camp Dunlop for a camp, and there's a cost of travel. You can put that as part of your budget, and you can use gaming money towards that as long as you record it in the gaming account summary report, which I will talk to you about later. So British Columbia is fine. Okay. I mean, there is now a new clause that you have to apply separately or talk to them separately if you want to use money to go outside British Columbia. You need permission and approval from them to do that. I usually don't recommend that. I would just say just keep it within BC. They want the money to stay in BC, right? Which is understandable. Now, if you're a new group and you haven't, or if this is your first time you're applying, you need to make sure you have a separate bank account other than your operating account called a gaming account. And you want to list it as this in red: Scouts Canada, name of your group, Scout group, and gaming account. So that must be listed on your check. And then if you're new, then you have to make sure that you submit that as part of your online application. And you have to submit an actual check and put void on it and send it to them. And I'll show you how you do that. Spending timelines. So basically you have 12 months to spend the money, right? From the time you receive it. In most cases, most groups will receive this money sometime in February because your application deadline is November 30th. And so you need to apply before then. And by the time they make the decision and get the money out to you, it comes to you into your bank account. And usually it's around end of February, early March. And so you have 12 months from then to spend it. And I'll explain to you a little bit about, because our program started in September, we're already spending money, how you can transfer monies from the gaming account back to your operating account for what you've already spent, as long as it meets the criteria. So that's what's called backward. So grant funds can pay back expenses incurred in the same fiscal year the grant is received. So you receive the money on 1st of March, say $5,000, and you've already spent $2,000 on the eligible expenses. You can make a transfer from your gaming account to your operating account for the $2,000. Right? But then you got to list it in detail what the money was spent on. Okay? And now you cannot pay past debt or future costs not yet incurred. Okay, so grant funds are usually deposited into the gaming account. All eligible expenses should be paid directly from the gaming account. Right? So grant funds can be transferred from by check or electronic from gaming to the general operating for reimbursement eligible program expenses. Check or board approval electronic transfer. Now, you need to make sure, this is something new that I've been seeing this past year, is that your group committee has to approve that you can do electronic fund transfers and who is authorized to make those electronic fund transfers. Similar to the checks, so you have signing officers for your checks. So basically you need approvers now for electronic fund transfers. So you need a separate motion and approval in your group committee minutes and have it documented that so-and-so, our say group commissioner or group administrator, group treasurer are the ones who are authorized to make electronic fund transfers. And they're also the same people who write the checks and sign the checks. So make sure you get that part done. They recommend that invoice receipt must be retained for 5 years. So if you can keep everything electronically, the better. Just have that available in case you get audited. Scout groups do get audited, and they go through it in depth. And I mean, they're not trying to catch you. They just want to make sure that you've done it correctly because it's government money. It's public money, I mean. And so they want to make sure that it's managed properly. Okay, so gaming grant spending must be submitted and reported in the gaming account summary report. This is a very, very important report that they want to know how you spend the money. And it must be submitted within 90 days of the organization's fiscal year end. So basically for us, for scouting groups, before November 30th, it needs to be submitted. So either send it to them electronically, and I do it 2 ways. I send it separately to them by email. I also put it as part of my online package. And I'll show that to you. Right? They do not send reminders. It's up to you to make sure that you do that. All right? So in the GSR, they have given the balance at the beginning of fiscal year, gaming funds received, funds dispersed, and balance at the end of fiscal year. So it's quite a detailed information that they require. And it also needs more information on how you spent the money and who did it benefit and things like that. So usually what I have done is I provide a descriptive, and we usually put an annual report together that this is how we did this past year, and we submit that at the same time. And so they know, okay, this is how the money was spent. And then I have a summary, okay, program activities or training activities or equipment purchases, just a very brief summary of how the money was spent. Okay, so again, I have again in blue. So this one is hyperlinked to the government website, so you'll be able to see it where it is. If I do one right now, let's see if it opens it up for me. And I'll bring it over. So this is what it looks like. The LNG file number is your license and gaming file number. And usually this file number, if you are a group that has received money, you'll have received a letter, and there'll be a number at the top of the letter giving you that number. So that number you need to save in a proper spot so that you'll need that, because that's like your ID number for your group. And so they require your information, how much revenue received. You don't have to worry about this part because we don't do gaming event licenses. Then any GST rebate if you're applying for that, any interest in your bank, so you need to record that. And basically your treasurer will be able to go through this very easily. Now, most cases, we do not do bingo tickets or other prizes, so you don't have to worry about this. We don't do any other licensed gaming events. Just go to section 5, and then here is how you write down how you spend the money. Now, if this is not enough space, you just provide another document, an Excel spreadsheet, the same layout, and then explain what the money was spent for. So 1 year we got into trouble because we just said, oh, we spent $2,000 and we just put Camp Bernard. They said, well, what did you use $2,000 for at Camp Bernard? So then we had to break it down to say, okay, we had busing, we had food, we had the camp costs. So we broke it down. So you have to break it down to show what it was. And then basically the information of fiscal year end. And so basically that's what the form looks like. And community benefit, there may not be enough words here for you to put in. There's only 300 words you're allowed. Maximum of 3 photos may be included in this report. I usually just attach, and I create a separate document and I attach it to this document and send it in. And then your signatories of your officers. Okay. Right. So here's a sample of our gaming account summary report. And this is also available on the website, the government website. That's where it's from, and I've linked it to it. Right, so you're able to see that. The reimbursement summary. So this kind of shows you what you need to write down, whether it's an EFT or a check, and the amounts. And then see here now, because this is a large amount, this is see attached, and then they attached a document to explain where the money was spent. Now this is an office, a nonprofit office operation, so that's why there were wages and office supplies and all that. In our case, it would be more details on the camp, on whatever else you might have been using it for. Okay. When to apply? Because we fall under Human and Social Services, we apply between August 1 and November 30th. In most cases, most scout groups are not even up and running by August 1. You want to still finish the scouting year by August 31. So normally a lot of scout groups will be applying in the month of October, early November. The deadline is November 30th. I totally recommend all groups, they put on your calendar, whoever's making the application, you put it down as November 25th as your deadline. Don't wait till November 30th, right? So you work towards getting everything ready by November 25th. And grant application, notification is by February 28th. Now, which form to use? There's 2 different types of forms. One's called a regular form and one's called a renewed funding application. And they kind of, when you go onto the website, if you're brand new, you'll be doing a regular form. If you're a group that's been getting money, then every other year you've got to do a regular form. But the website, when you sign on with your LNG number and all that, it'll automatically tell you which one you need to do. So it kind of helps you in that regard. It's just that in the regular form, there's more information required, whereas a renewed funding application requires less. And in the renewed, it's more to do with, like, if you received $2,000 this past year and you only want another $2,000, then it'll most likely be renewed. But if you decide, if your group has grown and you want to apply for 3,000 or 4,000, then you have to do even though they tell you to do renewed, you do a regular one because you want more money. Okay, so this application will only be used in case of the returning applicant see the same level of funding. But if it is more, then you need to do a new for the regular form. Okay, I'll go through that later on, but I just want to show you the bit you can click and it'll take you to the different forms. Now, here's something that I've done over the years that has helped me when I used to do the council applications. I used to do the same thing. This is a sort of an application summary information sheet. Gaming doesn't ask you to do this, but this is something for you. It's like a cheat sheet. And what it looks like, and I'll bring it, I'm going to be sending it to you separately. And it's an Excel spreadsheet, but you can set it up. And that's very difficult to read, so give me a minute here. Oops. So this takes you step by step, and your answers are on this side. So on the blue is the questions, and what's on the white, on the plain side, it's all your sort of your answers sort of thing, right? In red will be an answer. Otherwise, it's just information you have to put in. So before you start application, prepare your documents. Community Gaming Grants Program website, there's your website. The online service, because it tells you where to click. So they are just the steps. My organization LNG number, my GBIC ID number, whatever numbers they've given us, I make sure it's all recorded on this. What do you want to apply for? What's the regular application? What's the name of your group? Where's the address? Here, BC society number. We're not a society, so we leave it blank. When did your group start? What is your fiscal year end? And then you just go through steps. So all your answers are here. How many eligible voting members do you have? So figure it out by your calculation. How many committee members do you have? Because they ask you all these questions, right? And then these are the documents, as you can see, are the ones that you upload. And just note how I've labeled them. So you have name of your group, you have the date, you have your LNG number. Okay, so that's so that if the document gets lost in the system, then it helps you. It helps them find it very quickly. So everything in red is basically an answer for you to help you, and I've given you all those answers here, and the rest you kind of fill in based on your group. Sorry, I'm moving a little bit quickly, so let me know if I'm too fast, because I know I've got a lot to cover. Okay, so yeah, so this is a very good document, and that'll help you in your application process. Okay, some more tips. So your documents that you're going to create, and I will go through the list of all the documents. You want to, again, like I remember I mentioned, you want the file name, your document name, your group name, and your group LNG number. All right, and I would strongly recommend that you convert them into PDF, because it locks in all your formatting, especially when you've got pictures and all that stuff. Because if you just leave it in Word, it may get jumbled up somehow. Sometimes it happens, but a PDF will lock it all in, right? And that's what I recommend. Do not copy and paste from the document into the application fields. Some fields, it will only allow certain lines of text, sometimes only 4,000 characters. So the more you can do upload of documents, it's better, because they allow you to upload them. And then don't forget to print a summary of the application when finished. So then you have a record of what you submitted and you save it. Okay, so here are the documents that you upload. So you will create a list of democratically elected group committee members. So name, address, phone, and email. So those are the 4 fields. So you create an Excel spreadsheet with that information. Your annual general meeting minutes, including the election of group committee members. So make sure that that's in your AGM, the election of your group committee. Annual report, it's always nice to provide that. Include your group stats, highlight our program activities and pictures. Group financial review, revenue and expense statements for previous fiscal year, budget sheet for previous, accompanying notes for the previous fiscal year, right? That's your financial review. And then a budget for the current fiscal year. So these are all the individual documents. So there's 7 documents you're going to prepare. You gave me account summary report, even though you send it separately to them, I would also suggest it putting it as part of the package here too. And the final one is program description and the use of funds. So these are documents that you have to work on and get ready. So now you should be, in the next few days or whatever, you should start making sure that these are all ready. And some might take a little bit longer than others to write up or prepare. There's lots of tutorials available as well, how to fill out the form. I'm going to walk you through the regular form application tutorial shortly and show you like how to fill it out online. Right? There's lots of FAQs. So download these documents. Again, these are hyperlinked, like I'll show you here again. Right? So there's a lot of questions and answers here for you as well that they've put together. So you can go through it at your own pleasure and have it available to you. Start submitting applications. They recommend window-based Internet Explorer. I've used Chrome as well. Chrome works. So it depends on how your browser that works. So I'll walk you through the steps again of, I'm just writing this up here in this part of the presentation in case somebody is leaving and they're not there for the second part. You know, what you want to do is to make sure that you have about an hour where you just take a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or water or whatever, sit in your home office, no disturbances, nothing else going on around you. You want to concentrate, have everything ready in a file folder, all your documents ready in a file folder, and then all you do is upload, right? And fill out, upload, fill out, upload. And most cases, it should take you within an hour, you should be done. If you get disturbed and you get called away on a phone or something and you're off for almost 20 minutes, it'll go stale and you have to start all over again. So you really want no disturbance for that 1 hour. It does not save the documents till the last bit, the last page where it says submit. Then only it goes through. So plan to spend 30 to 60 minutes. I usually say give yourself an hour because you don't rush it either. You want to make sure you do everything step by step by step by step. And only online application will be accepted. Do not click the back button or refresh button as this will cause an error. Okay, very important. Excuse me. Supporting documents, if there's some, because are submitted with your application, ensure that everything goes in the application. So this way, everything is in one package. When it gets submitted, everything goes together. But sometimes, say if you're really delayed and your financials have not come through yet, but you're desperate to get this application in, then you can send it by email, but make sure, please, that you put your group's application ID number and group name, right? The group LNG number, very, very important. So you put your full group name, so your 123rd Anywhere Scout group, and group's LNG number, and so that way they can connect it and you can send it to them. But I would try and avoid that as much as possible. Because remember, there's thousands of applications going in from not only a scouting group, but the cadets are doing the same thing at the same time. There are other groups doing applications at the same time. So they're receiving thousands of applications. And yours can get lost in the woodwork or in the ether. Decision will be, like I said, by February 28th or early March. And it'll be sent automatically to you, to your treasurer or whoever is the contact person. And if you need to be reconsidered, like if they deny you, they will send you some information about being reconsidered. And you have to respond within 30 days. And you need to read through their letter and help answer those questions, and prepare yourself to answer those questions. If you need help, please reach out to Jennifer or any of the staff team. And then if they need to reach out to me, you can reach out to me as well. And I can help you to see, okay, what else, what information do they really need? And then we can kind of help you to do a reconsideration and see if that helps getting your money or not. Okay? So again, very critical. They say within 30 days. Why the decision should be varied or overturned? They only need clarifying information. Documents are considered. Final decision made within 90 days. Okay. There are some example documents, but again, like I said, the balance sheet and all that. This is from the government website, the gaming website. I've always told people that, hey, Scout Scanner has done a really good job of developing templates for us. So why not use what's already available to us? But you're free to use, if you're using a software program for your financials in your group, and you have got a really good treasurer who knows what they're doing, and they can put all these things together, then that's okay too. Resources, lots of resources are available, the guidelines, and I think some of them may be repetitive here, but I've always tried to rather be more redundant than repetitive than not have it there available to you. Now, they have a phone number you can phone if there's a problem, and if you need any help, if you want the question answered, you can call them, and they're really good. There are case officers that respond right away, and they will talk you through it as well. And they are well versed with scouting programs now over the years that we've been doing this. So they'll be able to help you out. Okay. This is just sort of a check tips and advice. So read the guidelines, read the application checklist, review the sample documents, have a professional review. Well, not really professional, but somebody who reviews your documents. Prepare a summary and save all required documents PDF. If relevant, include a cover letter. Ensure a gaming account summary report is submitted. Contact the manager for assistance and apply as early as you can. Okay. Jennifer?
Sure. Yeah, we do have a few questions in the chat, so I'll just start off at the top. So starting off with Kelly, there was a mention on their manual that if under 10K, ask could do simplified finances. Does this apply?
Yes. So there is a new financial template that they've put together that you can use that if you're applying for less than 10,000. So you can download that off the gaming website and use that as a way to do it. But again, using Scouts Canada's template is perfectly fine too. I think this is more for what they've done is it's more for some of the small nonprofits out there. But if you're already doing using Scouts Canada's template with financials, then just use that.
Okay. Kelly, does that answer your question? We also have another question from Kelly. What would be the pro of reporting the in-kind?
From scouting groups point of view, not much. There's nothing I see that helps us at all. It's more, like I said, right? For the reason I put it in there, because some people were involved with another nonprofit and they said, oh, what about your own kind? So I said, okay, fine. I will explain that because it's on their government website. So scouting groups really don't need to even worry about that because we're all volunteers. It's more for those small nonprofits that have a staff component and a volunteer component, right? Within their office setting or how do I explain? Yeah, so then they record it. But again, it comes out to be zero. Revenue, so much, expense, so much, right? Expense is the number of hours and revenue is, again, you just put the same number twice at the revenue side and the expense side, so it nets out to zero. So why go through the trouble of even trying to write that up? For scouting, it doesn't make sense.
Al, I mean, basically, it's put in there for another kind of a group. So
Yes.
say if that group is doing a project or something like that, they can create a funding, a fee for costing out for the volunteers doing labor
That's
and that
right.
make it include that in the application.
So somebody asked about how much to apply for, and basically it's, I would say in your budget, you budget for about $100 per active member. Now this has to for youth members. So Beavers, Cubs, Scouts, Venturers. You can't apply for Rovers because they're over 18, they're considered an adult. So this is for youth. So the number of Beavers, Cubs, Scouts, and Venturers that you have, multiply that by $100, and that's your request for the grant. And put that in your budget, and put that in your budget, that's what so in your budget, you put gaming, and if you got to say 50 members, then you put down $5,000.
Laura has a question here. They were denied last year, but received it for a number of years prior. Do they still have to do a summary for the last time the money was received, or are they starting a new ask and won't have to do a summary until next year? And there's continuation of this, that they tried to do a reconsideration, but they were denied because all their group committee was running unopposed. So just acclaimed. That wasn't explicitly stated in their minutes. So denied and told to reapply next year.
Oh, that's interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
More
so
food for thought.
Yeah. So your first question was, you've done it and then you didn't do it last year, or you got denied last year, right? No, you didn't do it last year. Was that the question?
Or if you want to come off and explain it, that would be great.
Hi. Yes, we were denied last year because we didn't have how the members were elected to the group
Oh, I
committee
see.
in our minutes.
Yeah.
They were all acclaimed. So
yeah. So what you don't want to say acclaimed. What you want to say is during the election that yes, these are the officers that were nominated, and a motion was made, like motion by so and so to approve the slate of officers, and moved, seconded, no opposition, and motion carried. Don't say it was acclaimed. That means, but you need to have in your AGM, well, how many people are there, because there's a question they ask you. So other than just the board members, other than group committee members, so you're not just 6 of you around the table say, oh yeah, we acclaim ourselves. Yeah, they won't accept that. So it has to be that there were parents there. So you've got to push to get some parents and scouters at your AGM. And you can say, yeah, eligible members, 120 members, but only 20 people showed up, which is fine. Other over and above the 5 that are putting their names forward.
Okay. And so when we got the notice that we were denied, my treasurer told us that there was no reconsideration, is what they told her.
Was that in the letter?
I'll have to take a look, but I believe.
Yeah, so read through the letter, because that's important. They give you a hint of what, if you want to reconsider, what do they need from you?
Yeah, they said we had to give in all the past things that were missed, because there was a couple of renewals where we got the money. Yeah. But actually it was the same issue with the minutes, but they said there was no reconsidering this year.
Okay. Well, they usually depends on what if you met their criteria for reconsideration, then they'll tell you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
But in the meantime, do they have to do a summary for the last time that the money was received?
What I would suggest is you just send it to them this year from the previous one, the last one that you did, and just say that last year we didn't get any money, but we're sending you a GSR from 2 years ago when we did get the money, just for your reference. Because you didn't get any money last year, so there's no point in doing another one. But I would just send one anyway, so that way they know, okay, we gave them in 2022, and here's the GSR from 2022. They didn't get anything in 2023, and now they're applying for 2024.
Okay.
Okay, it doesn't hurt.
Okay. And Sandy from 2nd Penticton, are voting members parents of registrants?
Yes. Yes. So all your members, we usually consider. I think most groups, consider I don't know, one vote per family, one vote per one, well, because mom and dad, or again, we have blended families now too, and different family structures. So you decide at your group level how you want to, who are the voting members. You can make that decision, right? But you want to show a larger number. So the more you can say, like we've got now 150 kids, so we'll say, okay, we've got 300 voting members. But no, we know 300 never will show up. We have about 28 people show up, 28 families show up on average. Or you just say, okay, we've got 150 kids, every kid gets one vote. So no, the kid doesn't get the vote, the parent gets the vote. So, we just say that's what they get. But in some cases, we have 2 kids from a family or 3 kids per family. So the group needs to decide how you want to do that. As long as things are running smooth, it doesn't really matter. It's when things get contentious is when things like the voting things really matter. But they do give you advice that your the number of voting members has to be larger than the number of board members, which is the group committee. Okay.
Okay. And I think that you answered Rory Ralph, what dollar amount is reasonable to ask for a group smaller than less than 50 youth? We typically ask for 5,000 and easily used it all. So it's just typically $100 per
Yeah,
youth.
$100 per member. And what I would suggest also, like say, for example, if you're a group that is growing and you need more equipment, you apply for that $100 per member, but then you add, say, I want another $1,000 to buy this equipment to help support these kids, and put that as part of the application. So then apply for $6,000. It sometimes comes through. As long as you've made a case for it, that we need to buy new equipment because we've got more kids now. So we need the program money for the kids, but we need equipment money to support that program. So there's nothing wrong in adding a little bit more, but explain it properly as to why you need the extra money.
Awesome. Thank you. And Danica has heard people chatting at Group Commissioner Conference last January that gaming funds can be used for jamborees. This is not how I read things. Our troop is asking as they want to go to the UK next year.
You can use it for BC, but if you're going overseas, no. For anything that's like, for example, we use money for, although we didn't need to because we already spent most of the money, but a lot of groups use money to take the kids to PJ, which is a British Columbia event in British Columbia. So that was eligible for BC groups. They could use some of the gaming money to send kids to the jamboree. They could use it for transportation, to pay for the ferries or whichever way they were going to go, if they were renting a bus to get down to Swasan, or even the jamboree fee, a partial allocation to the jamboree fee. They could have used that. But if they're going overseas, then no, you can't use gaming money for anything outside BC.
So all money has to be spent in BC.
Yes.
Okay. So if you need equipment, tents, and you're buying it through Amazon US.
Oh, no, that's fine. But using sorry. Most likely, what they will do, they may accept that part because you're buying equipment that's going to be used here, but it's when you're traveling. It's more to do with the traveling part.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can buy stuff from somewhere, and what I would do is if you have an operating account as well, use that money from the operating account. Try and use BC money in BC. Right, these are taxpayers' dollars that we are getting. They want it to be used to help build the economy in British Columbia, right?
Right. Okay. And Doug has a question. Is there a minimum quorum for group committees?
I'm sorry?
Is there a minimum quorum for a group committee?
Depending on the size of your group, right? So you most likely, depending if your group is a small group, say you only have Beavers and Cubs, so you've got 2 section scouters from there, and then you may have a group commissioner, maybe a group treasurer and a group administrator, maybe 5 people. That's good enough for a small group. But if it's a larger group, you might have, like in our group, we have at least 11 members. Right, we've got 1 from each section, plus we have a group executive of 4 members. So 6 and 5, 11. Oh, yeah.
And Kelly has a question. There was mention of needing physical checks. Do we just need the one to submit when get accepted into the grant? In parentheses, first time applying, or do you
Yeah.
need more checks? How many do we need to
Well,
purchase?
what I would, because now we can do e-transfer, they do need an actual physical check. So, you might want to order, say, 100. I think you're allowed minimum of 100 checks. So you order 100 checks and keep that. And whenever you really need to use a check, then use the check. Otherwise, you can do EFTs, electronic fund transfers. But again, make sure you document that who is allowed to sign and who's allowed to do the EFTs.
I think that's all the questions from the chat.
Okay. You want to take a quick break? Or are we good to carry on?
We're good to go. Everyone stand up, shake, do the dance.
Shake dance, because I've got to walk you through the online. I'm just going to stand up for a few minutes.
Are there any other questions that you want to put into the chat or just ask?
Okay, we've got about 35 minutes, so let's see if we can make it through here. Are we good to go?
We're good to go.
Okay. I hope you're finding this useful. All right, so the online application, step by step. So this is what the website looks like. And you'll see the arrow right here, online service. So first step, to start application, click the online service link, right, which is right there. Then again, click the launch. Now you're launching it. Launch online service. Now we're going to which type of online do we want? There's a whole bunch of them. So we go with the community gaming grants. Okay. Sorry, I'm turning my head because I'm looking at my second screen here. Excuse me. So selecting your organization to start your application. So if you're a new group, you're going to create a new organization and you follow the prompts that it gives you. If you're a returning group, you want to put your LNG number. Okay. So you put your LNG number in there, and that LNG number, you get it when you receive your money from last year. It should be at the top over there. And if you have put your summary sheet that I showed you earlier, your number should already be there, right? You should have got everything ready on that spreadsheet, and then it's a matter of just cutting and pasting it in or writing it in here. Okay, so you've done that. It's going to find your name of your group. It'll your group name will come here, and if there's a change in address, so say group commissioner or group treasurer has changed, and now everything has changed in your group, then you might want to change the address here. Number 3, we don't have to worry about. There's no society number. What day did your organization start operating? And this is the date of when your group started officially. So if you have your old charter, then that's the date you put in there. Because the next question is, because they asked you later on, how many years have you been in existence? Years and months, right? So when did your group organization start operating approximately? So if it was, and there's a date field, so you need to click on that and put the date field in there. And fiscal year end for all of us, it's August 31st. Right? So here's the answers really in red. So that's what you put in, fiscal year end, any changes. And then if you're a new organization, then review the organization and launch application. So next step, review organization information, launch applications. Apply for the gaming grant. The information will all come up and it'll all be there for you. If you're returning member. If you're new, by now you'll have put the information in and it'll come up. Here you're given a choice of which form to use. In most cases, I've seen when we got it, it comes as regular because we tend to apply for a little bit more every year. And they give us a little bit less, but that's okay. And I don't have a problem in applying for using the regular application. So I'm going to go to the regular application form. So again, you'll check your information on it. And if there's any information changes, so for example, you've got name has changed, well, name should not change. There should be no change in fiscal year end. And yeah, so organization information changes. If there's anything there, you need to put down, but it shouldn't change because most groups I have seen who are already in the gaming system that have been applying are correctly documented. So they have Scout Scanner in front of their name and then their name of their group. So now we come to the sector details. The sector is human and social services. So when you click the down arrow, that's the one you're going to pick. So everything in red is the answer. Does your organization self-identify as Indigenous? I don't think any of our Scout groups are totally Indigenous. If we do start up a Scout group within the First Nations group in a local community, then yes, then they will be able to say yes. I don't think we have any that are
Not yet.
Not yet, yeah. But
Not
there are
yet.
opportunities.
Yeah, we are working on 2 groups right now in Cascadia.
Perfect. So then if they are, then they would say yes. But most groups would say no. And then does your organization limit access to any programs? No, we don't, based on any, because we're an open, any diversity inclusion, we support everything. So we say no. Constitution bylaws. In here, what you can say is you can say attach and just attach a PDF of the bylaw table of contents from scouts.ca. So, and they've already got a copy of all of it. I've already sent it to them a number of years ago when the Scouts Canada's bylaws changed and they updated it a few years ago. I sent it to them right there on November. So they've got it on file as of November 24, 2020. So they have it on file. But you can attach just a table of contents because groups do not have bylaws anymore. It's all under Scouts Canada. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. Remember I mentioned earlier, voting members and board members. So this is a number that's made up of parents of currently active youth, active volunteers, and active group committee executive. So you can add all that number up and put that in there. And your board members, your active group committee members, you can put that in there. And then you will attach your list of your board, your group committee, and you attach it. Your document is ready. Remember I mentioned to you earlier all the different documents. This was the first document that you can have, is then you attach it right there. Okay, so you attach it, you click attach, and it goes through the process of finding the document where it is on your computer. And I think most of you know how to do that. If anybody has any difficulties, please reach out to Jennifer, and she can probably walk you through how to attach documents. But it's quite simple. You click on that, it tells you to browse, and you find it on your computer. And if it's all in a file folder, it's very easy. You click on it, and then it just attaches. And then you'll see the name of the document listed right underneath over here somewhere. So here you want all your group commissioner and everyone in there. Annual general meeting details, date of last AGM, when did you have it, how many voting members attended, and how will you submit the minutes of the last AGM, right? You attach. Don't email. I would strongly say just attach. Then that way everything is together. And here even you can attach even the group's annual report. If you have one, just attach and put it in there. Even though there is no field for that, but just attach it with part of minutes, do it again. So there'll be, so underneath here, there'll be 2 documents. One will be the minutes and the other one will show up as the AGM, the annual report. Organization financial statements, same thing. You read through this, again, attach, and now you're attaching all these documents. So you're attaching the balance sheet, financials program of Scouts Canada. However, whatever you've done to meet these criteria right here, that's what you're attaching. If it's all one document, then great, then just attach it all as one document. Or if it's separate documents, then attach. And like I've said here before, attach the GSR even if you've sent it separately. It's always a good thing to have it. I always do it, and they've never questioned me why I do it. So, and they've once in a while they've told me it's great, it's there, so we know it's already submitted, but you attach it here as well, just in case. So here, other organizational details. And this is just for information purposes. It doesn't really affect us, so we just put not applicable. Gaming account, here's where they need the check. So you want to attach a void gaming account check. Even though it's, you can say once they've already, if you've submitted it, then you can say it's already on file. Right, but a new applicant must send it as part of this and attach it. Your gaming account summary report, I think I've talked about it in detail with you, so I don't need to repeat any of that. And then the sample documents. This was just a picture of one of our ventures who did this as part of her capstone project for her Queen's Venture Award, where she collected all this with Children's Hospital. Group financials, I think we've talked in length about that. Even though the program year has shifted, but our financial reporting year remains the same. And so, so there's a link here that can take you, and I think Cascadia Council probably has the same setup, but you can go to this one too, and you can get the template for yourself, which is the standard Scouts Canada template. All right, so I've already gone through the gaming account summary report with you. So I won't spend too much time there. Now we're going to program details. So here, when you start, you click Add Program. Program name, you will write down Scouting Programs. So in this field, you put Scouting Programs. Subsection, subsector is Scouts, Cadets, and other. So when you go in the public list, that's the one you'll pick. And the number 3 is the program description. So here, you see all these questions they have. What activity and service they were delivered, who benefited, when and how often did activities take place, where were the program. So this is a document you have to create. So it could be a 2-pager or 3-pager, depending on how many sections you have. And if you put some pictures with it, so describe that. And then what you want to just say, write in here, see attached file. And then just choose file and attach it. Okay, that's the way to do it. Don't worry about you. If there's no way you're going to put in 4,000 characters, if you know, so it's better to just attach a separate document. And the field below outline how you deliver the program. Again, COVID is done now, so it doesn't really affect us much. So we don't have to worry about number 4 much. All right, groups must include programs for the scouting program they deliver. Program should include concise information about ongoing delivery. You can describe activity and delivery. Use the Canadian Path Framework as a guideline. Again, this I've just repeated what they've told you there. So I've given you a little bit more information. Mention number of youth, who and how many deliver the program. How many scouters do you have? What are the colony and company activities? Do you meet weekly, monthly, year-round? Include your activities. Do you meet at the public facility? Do you meet your group facility, outdoor location? So a lot of information that you can create. You can create 1 to 3 pages. So be clear and concise. And break it down by your sections. It's all part of the scouting program. Talk about how you are increasing the quality of life of the people within the community. How you're supporting the well-being of children and families. It's meeting and addressing them unmet needs, underserved groups. So talk about that. Like talk about what parents have told you that, oh my God, I'm so glad my child is coming to Beavers or Cubs. My child has opened up, and you can put some quotes in there. Accessibility, inclusivity. I talk a bit about that. Community support. What kind of support do you have in the community? Do you have some organizations that support you, whether it's in kind? For example, sometimes the local grocery store may give you discounts, and so you can say that. And if they give you something in writing, then you just attach it as part of your report, your program description, right? If you provide a letter of support, then add that in there. How does the program improve the quality of life? They really want to know that. Okay, so add that in there, that because of scouting, so many kids are involved, but they've also opened up so much. They become more self-reliant. They become, more. They're able to interact with others. Their social interaction has increased. The parents comment that such and such has happened with their child. So you can say some of that. Put those examples in there. Tell your group story. That's what it is. Tell your group story. Each group is unique. And is your program sustainable, right? If you've been around for a while, talk about it. That we've been around for 40 years or 20 years or 10 years. And, it's a really great addition to the community. And this is what we do. And we've had so many children go to the program. And so, and if you've got some youth who have kind of grown up now and become some important people, make a note of that. Tell your group story. Okay, here's now when they ask you, how long have you been in existence? So that's why the word years and months. In most cases, it will be, for us, it's coming into 43 years and 4 months. Or no, August, September, October, November. Yeah, 42 years and 3 months. Will be applying November. So it's always apply in 3 months, right? So put that in there. So they know you've been around for whatever number of years. Program revenue expense statement. Again, this is you've already prepared that. So again, you're attaching the same document, right? For the previous fiscal year, attach budget for current fiscal year, attach it. Okay, what amount are you asking for? So I've always said apply for $100 for active youth. And then you can list here what you need the money, what are you going to spend the money on? So you can say program activity. If it's $5,000 you're applying for, or you want to say $6,000 because you want $1,000 of equipment, then put that down here. So here you can just list 3 or 4 items. Say program, 2,000 equipment, 2,000 this travel, this whatever, training of adult leaders, so much, totaling to $6,000, and that's what you're going to put down here. So provide item as list of how grant funds will be used. Okay, so and these are the ones what you should meet. They want to see that the money you're going to spend is for scouting activities, right? That's for the benefit of the youth. What's like the Canadian path. Purchase and service delivered regular scouting such tents, canoes are eligible depending on type of program your group offers and runs. You should not apply for activities that are not regular scout. For example, tickets to hockey or football games. So sometimes there are hockey nights and whatnot. You don't use the gaming money for that because that's not really a scouting program. It is a program. It's an activity, but it's over and above the scouting program. Then again, I've given you a lot of answers here already in red. That's what you would fill out. In most cases, again, I've written yes and no, depending on if we have a group that meets some of these needs, then you write down whatever meets whatever your group is, right? The primary target or benefit indigenous youth, mostly in cases will be no. Does this program primarily benefit children or youth? Yes. Does this program primarily target or benefit people with disability? Yes, it does. If you have some young people with some disability, then you can write yes. Because we have had 1 or 2 in our group, so we said yes. Number of people who have direct benefit from this program in the past 12 months. This is what your end of year number of youth that you had in August 31st. So put that number in there. Total number of registered participants in the program in the past 12 months. Same thing, right? Oh, sorry. So number of people who have benefited. Sorry, the number of people who have benefited is number of active youth and active volunteers in my Scouts. So your total membership, right? And then the number 3 is just the total number of youth. And we are not a daycare, right? And then here you just save and return to application and take you back to the application and the program details. And we only have 1 program. So it'll show up here. It says scouting programs here, and whatever amount you put in there will show up over here. We don't need to add another program. We only have one program, which is called scouting programs. So don't do a separate one for Beavers, Cubs, Scouts. No, only one program. Right? No further programs to be added. Now you go through the approval process, and you should have had a motion passed at your group committee meeting or at an AGM that you are applying for gaming, and then you need a motion approved that yes, your group committee or your AGM has given you authorization to apply for gaming. And here you just fill out this information here. So and make a note of this. So provide name and contact information from the organization who are responsible for this application. So 2 officers who are responsible. 1, a submitter. An officer may be a submitter. Contact person can be an officer, maybe the contact person. So it can be the same person twice in the other 2 fields. There's 3 times you have to do this. So you're going to do it. So you say first officer, then you put your 2 officers. In most cases, it'll be group commissioner, group admin, or group treasurer. Your submitter could be any one of them who is doing the submission, and your contact person can be again the same. Those 2 or even the treasurer. In most cases, usually the treasurer. So you decide in your group as to whose names are going to go in there. Delivery method, how do you want the information to come to you? You can put down your group commissioner or your group administrator and another alternate contact email. And is there anything else that you want to send? And if you do, you choose the files and you add it. And then next, to complete the application, you can read through this, make sure you click this little box and you submit. And you'll get a summary. And it'll give you an application ID number, and you can open up the PDF in a separate window, and it'll there make sure you save that PDF as well. And so basically I've rushed it through quickly, but that is the online. So that's your 1 hour that you're going to spend one evening and just do your application.
Well, thank you, Alameen. There's a couple of questions in the chat here. So I'll go back there and ask the questions. John Kenny, is it $100 per youth or $100 per youth and scouter? Last meeting we were told youth and scouter.
The person.
No, it's usually the youth because it's for the youth is what we've been told. And that's what I've been recommending to everyone. You can try it. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but I would just say, yeah, number of youth because they want the money to go towards the youth.
Or Kelly, it mentioned that the group sponsor should be aware support. Is that something formal like a minuted meeting or can just discuss in an email or phone call?
I'm sorry, for your sponsor? Like a church sponsor?
We don't have a church that's sponsoring us, but we have a local legion. I just saw on a previous slide, a few slides ago, it said that the group sponsors should be aware and supportive. So I just wanted to know how formal of a.
Oh, yeah, they just need to be aware. Just let them know. And usually the Legion, interesting if your sponsor is a Legion, the Legion also gets gaming money. They apply for it separately, and then they give out grants to local charities.
Yeah, in our community, it seems to be the Lions Club that gets the funds and disperses them, but I could certainly ask and double check that with our Legion. Yeah,
but if you're applying for gaming, I wouldn't want to double dip because, let them help other organizations, right? You're already getting money from gaming, so you don't want to go back to Lions and say, okay, give us your gaming money as well. That's fine. Yeah, I think, just to be fair to the local community, right?
Yeah, we've never actually got a gaming. This will be our first time applying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would just do it as part of, it can be in your minutes somewhere that, we have informed our sponsor and they're not going to ask for it, but it's always nice to let them know. Because sometimes, there's some, especially church groups had the difficulty in the beginning when we started all this, that, you're using gaming money. Well, then we had to get a letter a long time ago, I think it was, that we went to the gaming branch and said, well, does this money come just all from those casinos or is it what? They said, well, everything goes into a general pot. All revenue is put in one pot, and then they allocate so many millions of dollars to the gaming branch to manage it. So it's not directly from the casinos. Yes, there is some money, but all casino money as well goes into general revenue. And then the finance department allocates based on the provincial budget. So that's how some churches said, okay, you know what, then that's fine. As long as it's not directly from gaming, although it is the gaming branch that manages it.
And is the annual report required? Kelly is asking. They haven't done one yet, and time is limited on getting rest of the application altogether for the first time. So is an
it's
AGM
not
required?
Yeah, it's not required, but again, it's useful to have. It just provides you more, but you can put it together with just a list of activities your beavers did last year and some pictures. That's good enough too. As long as you say what we do in our group. These are the types of activities we do in our group. And this is what we do, and this is what we want to do, and continue doing that, right? So better they have an idea that, yes, you are an active scout group.
I think I have all the questions. Grant did find a subsection at a province travel outlines, and I connected him with Danica through email. Yeah, have I asked all the questions?
Yeah, Jennifer, it's extremely limited on what the province may allow for out of province travel.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. But at least there's some guidelines, right? So
yeah. So mostly, you know, what I have found when I talked to them a few years ago, when they said yes, it's mostly to do with the sporting teams like hockey,
exactly,
or baseball, you know, because they're traveling for a tournament. Now, but say, for example, if Alberta was running a jamboree, then a case could be made. But it's more to do with competitions, whereas the jamboree is not a competition that you're representing your province or your town or whatever, right? You're just going there and having a good time. But a case can be made for, say, a jamboree in Alberta or Saskatchewan or wherever. But overseas, they would not approve that. At least in my mind, I don't think they would.
okay. Well, are there any other questions that we can give to the experts here? We could just give it a awkward pause.
That's good. Hopefully, I answered all your questions, and I hope I answered your questions. And again, like I said, you know, my name and number is listed there, and email. And if you have questions, you can always either go to Jennifer or Grant, or to get in touch with me, please. I'm okay. I can help you out too.
Wonderful. And Eric is just typing in the chat. Well, thank you very much. And you're very welcome. So at the end of this, you'll all get a recording is ready notice. So you can automatically go back into the recording because you registered to come into this webinar. So the only thing with it is if you try to share the webinar, if you do not have a scouts.ca email address, you may not have access to the actual physical recording of the webinar. And but I will be putting it on a hidden YouTube channel once it's all ready to go. So, but with that, I'll email everyone. Everything that Alameen sends out, along with the templates as well. And if there's any questions, we'll put our contact details in that email as well. Okay, so thank you so much, Alameen and Grant. Thank you so much for your expertise on this. This is probably the most stressful time of the year besides registration when it comes to groups. So I feel their pain. I've done the gaming grant for many years for my own group. I'm very grateful that I'm not in that role today. It's one of those stressful things. So you're just making this a heck of a lot easier to understand and helping. So thank you so much for what you do for the scouting community, and keeping us all together during this challenging time.
Yeah. Well, good luck to everyone, and I pray that you all get the grant that you hopefully look for, because I know what we do in the communities. It's amazing work that we all do. And I was on staff for almost 31 years, but I always commend all volunteers for doing an amazing, amazing job of keeping scouting, especially in Cascadia. I remember traveling all over the province and seeing the small community how scouting was operating. And it was always gratifying to see that scouting is alive and well in some of the smaller communities and continues to grow. So good luck to all of you. And please reach out if you have any questions or need some help.
Wonderful. Thank
Take
you so
care.
much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.